G'day guys, James here from RedSands Campers. Today I'll be walking you through one of our premium four-wheel drive campers. We'll be starting with electrical, then the kitchen, onto the rooftop tents, awning, and some basic four-wheel drive functions. I'll be leaving you with enough information to get started on your four-wheel drive adventure. Before we get started, we have our client services guide in all of our vehicles. All of the information that I'm about to show you now is also inside of this. It also contains emergency numbers, contacts for RedSands, and any other information that you'll need on the vehicle. Welcome to the RedSands kitchen. All of our vehicles have dual battery systems. These systems can last up to 2 days and are charged automatically while driving. That system powers the fridge, the 12 volt, all of your lighting, and including a 240 volt inverter. On your key set, we've got this black key here. This key will open your water tank. The water tank that you guys have on board will be 80 litres of fresh drinkable water, which is gravity fed through one of our locker boxes to a regulation tap head. To open this cap, hold still, key in, twist to your left, spin and pull the cap off. Once the cap's off, fill up, put back on, press in, twist to your right, hold still again and twist the key. Once the cap is spinning freely, that will indicate that the box itself is locked. Underneath your water filler cap, we've got your diesel cap. The diesel key is the exact same as the ignition key. When you put that in, same operation again, press in, twist to your left, and the diesel cap will come off. Next to your water storage, we've got a 40 litre Engel. This is operated by pressing down on this red tab and then pull. To get the Engel back in, press down on the red tab and push towards. It's now locked into place. Over to your food prep area, remove these latches, pull down. Up the top, we've got dry food storage. Underneath that, we've got your colander, fry pans, cooking pots. In this drawer here, we've got your knives, forks, spoons, every utensil you could possibly need. And in this one, we've got bowls, plates, cups. At the very bottom, we've got a companion 2-burner stove. Next to that, we've got our toaster, kettle for boiling water, and also a drying rack and some stuff to clean up with. Up at the very top, we've got trestle table, which simply comes off the edge, pulls out. And in the middle of the kitchen, we've got this fold-out table. We ask that you guys do any cooking away from the canopy and not underneath the canopy itself. This bench here is purely for preparation. You must do your cooking away from the canopy. That's it for the kitchen. Just remember, always secure the fridge lid with the bungee cord supplied. Keep the fridge lid closed to save power. Always check the canopy and water locker doors are closed before driving. Only fill the water tank with fresh drinkable water. That's it for the kitchen, and now we'll take you around to the back of the vehicle. Here at the rear of the camper, we have our spare tyres. In addition to the spare tyres on the back, we also have a spare underneath. The tools for the spare underneath are located inside the cab underneath your rear seat. There are also 2 rear lights on the back of the vehicle that are operated by your key fob, and underneath that, a rear view camera. On this side of the car, we have the storage side of the vehicle. Inside here, we've got your spare doona and spare towels, the additional sleeping bags required for the front rooftop tent. Next to that, we have your camping chairs. Underneath that, we have your ladder for the rear rooftop tent. Underneath this, we have our small step up, and underneath this, we have our recovery drawer. From here, we can check the remaining level of your secondary battery. Inside the recovery drawer, we've got our 12 volt shower, air lines for the air compressor gauge, 10 litre collapsible bucket, power extension of a hose, awning peg and rope bag, shovel, small toolkit, hanging octopus, fire extinguisher, recovery gear, and vehicle jack base plate. The last thing on this side of the vehicle is the gas bottle location. That's all the features on the drawer side of the canopy. To summarise, here's a few tips. Keep an eye on the battery charge to see if you'll need to drive or to plug into 240 volt. Store the heavier items on the bottom and the lighter items on the top shelf. That's everything for the storage side of the vehicle. Now I'm going to show you our rear rooftop tent on the vehicle. This is operated by 4 latches, 2 at the front and 2 at the rear, with 2 locking arms that are inside of the actual rooftop tent itself. Now that I've got the ladder, hold it as close as vertical as possible when putting it in there. It's got 2 little C latches. Watch fingers as it comes down and down to the ground. In order to get to the rear rooftop tent latches, we use our step. Each clip has a little silver C-clip that's on it. We use this by pressing in silver C-clip and then pulling the latch away from you. Once that's off, we can bring that back up and rest that here. Moving around to the passenger side, exactly the same process. Once you've done that, give this a little light push and your rooftop tent comes up. Now 2 front latches on the driver's side. C-clip in, pull latch away. Once this latch has been pulled down, please make sure that it gets put back up and locked into place. This will prevent any damage or fouling on the front rooftop tent. Moving around to the passenger side, exactly the same process. The finishing steps. We have 2 lockable arms. You can press these out by pressing firmly once you're inside the rooftop tent. All set up, ready to go. We've also got storage netting, and there's also a solar extraction fan to keep the humid air out. All of our tents have 360-degree fly nets and are also all fully sealed. To summarize, 2 clips at the rear, 2 clips at the front, making sure that with the front clips they get latched back into place to not foul on the front rooftop tent. And then after that, we've got our 2 locking arms which are inside of the tent. Now that we've finished the rear rooftop tent, we can move on to the front. There's a few steps involved with the front rooftop tent. First of those being the removal of the canvas. After that's been removed, we can then undo the 2 straps which are on the passenger side of the vehicle. Once we've completed that, we can then get the legs, affix them to the actual rooftop tent and use our body weight to bring them over to the driver's side of the cab. Now that we've got the canvas off, we can remove the 2 straps that are on the passenger side of the vehicle. And now we move around to the driver's side of the cab. We've got 2 arms that pull out like this. Once out, you can then attach your legs, and one for the other side. Now that we've got this, we can now use our body weight to bring the tent over and across the driver's side of the car. Once both legs are down on the ground and secure, we can unlatch our rooftop tent ladder. Same as the rear rooftop tent, hold it close to vertical as possible and bring it away. All of your bedding is included in your hire with RedSands, and just a reminder, all of the steps can be found in your client services guide. Let's go around and I'll show you how to put them back down again. First step to closing down our front rooftop tent is the ladder goes up. We remove it from the hinge, place your ladder inside the straps. Once you've done the top 2, you can then move on to the straps at the bottom. Pressing in on the C-clip, we can raise the legs of the rooftop tent. We can now put our front rooftop tent ladder legs away. That's everything on the driver's side of the cab done for now. And we're now going to move around to the passenger side, where I'll show you how to pull the support guide rope to bring that side of the rooftop tent in. Opening the zip on the closest side to the canopy. Just inside will be this black rope. That rope pulled will lever the tent over. Once you've brought your rooftop tent down, tuck in as much of the edges as you can. Now that this is folded down, we can now grab the 2 straps that we pulled off at the beginning. Now we put the canvas on the front of the rooftop tent. If you've got 2 people, it is much easier, but if you've only got yourself, then that's okay as well. Once we've got it up, we then just make sure all the edges are in nice, and we can work our way around the front of the rooftop tent, tucking in all of the straps. Now that we've finished the front rooftop tent, we can now start on the rear rooftop tent. Now the first step to taking down the rear rooftop tent is to pull in those lockable arms. They're now unlocked, and now the rest of the tent can fold down. So the first step for pulling down this tent is we move from the front 2 latches to the back 2 latches. In order to get to the front 2 latches, just take your step. The way that you want to position yourself is so that the tent comes back on an angle. Unclip the latch, place that back on, pinch the clips and back in. Now we go around to the passenger side on the front. Same steps, pinch the clip to release, bring that over and push in. Now that we're at the back of the vehicle, we can now pull down on the strap to bring the rear of the rooftop tent down. Once you've brought the tent down to about 2/3 of the way down, we then use the strap and wrap it around this part here. This will keep tension on the rooftop tent as we go around and tuck all of the edges in. Now that the edges have been tucked in, we can now tuck this away and just close the rest of the tent. In summary guys, the first step is to remove those lockable arms, fold them in. We can then jump down and move around to the front latches of the rooftop tent. Once those front latches have been secured, we can then move around and do the 2 latches on the rear. Here's a few quick tips with the rear rooftop tent. Store all of your bedding flat to ensure easy closing of the tent. Leave gaps in the canvas zips with the fly screen still secured to allow a nice breeze to come through the tent. Moving on to our awning guys, inside of our recovery drawer we've got our canvas bag. Inside that bag we've got 3 ground pegs, 3 sand pegs, 3 guide ropes and a small mallet. In order to pull out our awning, we first remove the Velcro strap, drag your zip all the way along. At this stage there's just 1 clip in the center of the awning. The canvas bag will roll out as so. You can carefully grabbing the rope, we can now bring our awning all the way around. Once we get to the back of the awning, we then place inside of the square guide, release our strap and bring it down to your nearest eyelet bolt, tighten. And now that we've done that, we can go around, drop all 3 of the legs and then tie each of those legs down. Each of the legs that drops can twist, so twist to release, and then twist again to tighten, and then we move around to the other 2. Once all legs are down and securely in place, we can then get the guide ropes and run them from the eyelet bolts where each of the legs are located down into the ground. Once we've got our guide ropes out of our awning peg bag, we grab this loop end and we slot that through the eyelet bolt. And then we pass the metal spring and wooden tensioner through the loop of the rope, hammer in the peg and tighten the rope. Now that that's done, we now complete the other 2 legs with guide ropes, and that's the awning done. I can now show you how to pack away our 270-degree awning, starting with the guide ropes, the removal of the pegs, legs, and then fold in the awning. Please make sure at the start to bring the metal latch all the way to the top. We can then jump back up on our step, pull the awning out of the square guide and bring it back down. That's our awning complete. A few tips with the awning. Please always secure it with the pegs and ropes to avoid the wind causing damage. Put the awning away before going to bed. When cooking, keep the gas stove outside of the awning. And now to the final section of the cab. Now that we're inside the cab, all of our vehicles have automatic transmissions, GPS units, and all standard functions of a Toyota Hilux. In the top glove box, we have a basic medical kit, a personal locator beacon which can be used in emergency situations, and a UHF radio. Our multimedia systems are used for music and also for the rear view cameras when put into reverse. All of our vehicles have cold aircon, and you'll find the four-wheel drive modes here. Our vehicles have 3 driving modes: 2 high, which is the standard for all of your sealed road driving, 4 high for unsealed roads, and 4 low for heavier four-wheel drive driving. Please familiarise yourself with how to switch between these modes by checking your client services guide. One of the easiest things to use is our onboard air compressors, which can be used to inflate your tyres. Please make sure your engine is turned on, press the on and off switch, pull the bonnet release lever and move around to open the bonnet. On the passenger side, at the rear of the engine bay, you'll find the compressor. You can simply click the hose in and then use the gauge. Work around the car to inflate each tyre, making sure you keep the hose out of the engine bay. Once we've finished airing up our tyres, we then turn off the air compressor inside of the cab. We then release any excess air from inside of the air compressor, and we can then safely remove all of our hoses. That concludes the walk around of our 5-person premium camper. In conclusion, I've gone through the awning use, rooftop tents, electrical, kitchen side, storage side, and some in-cab four-wheel drive features. I hope that you can take this information and head out on the adventure of a lifetime.